One, two. 1, 2. Yes, people. It is DJ Ash Noble here, and we are live and direct. And this is probably one of the worst ways to do this kind of stream. But because I am a poor person, I can't actually do this with the actual physical equipment in hand. But what I wanted to do, I think we're just having a little bit of lag, please. Yes, we've gone back to green. What I wanted to do was give you my thoughts on the new Pioneer FLX10 DJ controlling centres. Late on last night, I was very fortunate to be picked up by a friend and drove to his house to have a play around on the brand new Pioneer FLX10 DJ controller that he has been fortunate enough to buy with some redundancy money. So I knew for quite a while that he was getting like some form of new decks, and he said once he got these decks that I'd be welcome to come round and have a little bit of a jam, have a little bit of a play on the decks. Now these controllers are very new. They came out this year. I don't know exactly when, but they are like literally very new, and it is a four-channel DJ controller. And my thoughts of having a go on one of these and getting to touch the buttons and spin some tunes, it was absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to see here if I can get anywhere closer to show you some, um, see if I can show you like a better picture, sort of like a bit more of a close-up. So if I tap on this, so here we are. So you can obviously see here. So if I just take it to here, it'll show the bear with me, and then we'll crack on. Yeah, we're back in the green now. Look, it's every time I have record box open, it seems to just not like to work with OBS, very strangely. So yeah, so it's a four-channel DJ controller, and my first thoughts have been like given the chance to have a spin on one of these, is it is absolutely fantastic. It is absolutely amazing, and it takes quite a few features from another relation of it, and it takes features from the Pioneer XDJ XZ. So it's got these really beautiful big jog wheels that you'll see on the XZ. The XZ is also a four-channel as well, and that is really good. So kind of imagine you've got the XZ minus the screen, and you've got a few more effects on there. So it's almost like the XZ, but they've kind of got rid of the screen and the standalone, and then given us kind of like a few more effects, and kind of said, look, have these effects, but you won't get the screen with this one. That is kind of, to me, what it feels like they're kind of saying. So it feels really good. It actually, when you move in the jog wheel, it does feel like you are literally moving the jog wheel on a XZ. So you've got the performance pads, so you can set hot cues on these performance pads. You can also change them to effects, so they'll do things like flanger, they'll do like beat roll, so you don't just have to do them obviously by tapping this blue button. And as you can obviously see, there's there's loads of effects here that it'll do. So yeah, like the pad effects, hot cues, samplers, so you can put like samples in there, vocals and things. I would imagine would probably nicely go in there, and loads of great stuff. We've got some screens inside of the jog wheel, which the XZ also have. So these screens will show you waveforms, they'll tell you the BPM, and they can also load like artwork for tracks as well, so like label artwork. And also, if you would like to do it, if you are interested, you can also put your own DJ logos in there as well. So if you have a logo and you want it to kind of just display there in your jog wheel, you obviously can. The pitch fader is really nice to use. It feels really good to use. Getting through the different variations of the pitch fader. So if you want to obviously, like, you know, increase the pitch fader so it'll go to faster BPMs, can be a little bit complicated, and you've got to do like hold shift, and then you've got to press you've got to click the little tempo reset button or whatever it's called, and that'll change like the percentage of the BPM. And it's sometimes really hard to get it to that specific, like, you know, so if you've got this track at this side playing at 155 and you want this side to go to 155, you have got a little bit of an issue. Like, it's very easy for it to jump from like 154.8 to 155.3. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very easy for it to skip like a couple of BPMs and kind of miss the one that you're obviously wanting to use yourself. We've got the sync button, obviously, if you just want to sync the two tracks together, and you know, you don't want to specifically, you know, you don't want to obviously, you know, beat match them together. You've got key sync, so if you want to sync the key of one track to the key of another track, so change the key of a track automatically, so the two tracks are literally within the same key. You can do that. We've got obviously the crossfader, the 4 channels, the Q buttons to hear the channels in the headphones. We've got the effects button, where there's loads of things like phaser, flanger, echo, beat rolls, and all kinds of crazy things like that, and you can obviously adjust which channels they go out of, and obviously you can adjust how loud and how quiet the effect is. So obviously if you spin it all the way, the effect's at full and you'll hear the full effect of it, and if you have it where it is on the picture, you'll hear some of the effect, but it won't be as loud as it would be. Obviously have it at full. We've got the buttons for the headphones. One thing I actually didn't notice, and I maybe should have looked yesterday, but on like XZs and like RX3s, you can plug like normal headphones in without having a headphone jack, as well as the headphone jack input. So it has like the 1/4 3-inch headphone jacks, and then so you've got the two different headphone jacks, but I don't know if that is the case on these. It might be. I just forgot to look, and I just took my headphones with the thing itself. So that was obviously what I'd gone there and done. And we've obviously got the filter effects. So if you tap any of these, you can have sort of like filters. You can have like echoes and stuff as well. And if you obviously move these knobs, it'll obviously play them effects. You've got the mids, highs, and the lows, and you've got the gains and stuff like that. You can change the inputs of the channels as well. It's 4 channels, so you can have like 2 channels going to somewhere else. So if you wanted to plug like a CDJ in or something like that, and you wanted an extra channel, or you know, you've got this absolutely amazing mix going on, and you've got this tune that you want to bring in, but you've only got it on a CD and you've not got it digitally on your computer, you can have one of the channels that will change to you know, another output, and then you can connect to CDJ, and you can mix the CDJ into whatever track's playing on one of the decks on the actual controller itself. We've got the looping section, so you can make loops, beat loops. You can make beat loops. So if you tap that one, it'll start a beat loop, and then if you tap that one, it'll end the beat loop, and then it'll just repeat the beat loop on sort of like how many sort of bars you've made the beat loop. So if you've made it 32, it'll keep repeating them 32 bars, which is quite good if you want to extend a track. Like if you want to kind of make like a little bit of a longer mix and the track you've got maybe like feels like it ends quite quickly, it's a really good feature to do. We've got these big circular buttons here. These are for the software, so you can scroll between the tracks without having to use a computer mouse. You can just quickly twizzle that and go between your folders and browse down your tracks. And then when you've got the track you want, for depending on whatever deck you're on, you just tap that circle button down. So if you want it on this track, you'll just tap that button down. If you want it on this deck, you'll just tap that button down and it'll just load it nice and easy to the deck. Now, we're going to come on to probably my most favourite feature of the whole entire deck. And when I was playing it last night, it was just literally one of the best features, and I just literally could not stop playing with it. So, we've got the ability to really do live mashups really easily, very quickly, to do live mashups, which is absolutely fantastic. So we've got these buttons here, and these are stems. So when you load a track, all these buttons, they will be lit up, but if you tap one, it will isolate one of them sounds. So if you've got a track playing, you tap this vocal button, suddenly the track's an instrumental and there's no vocals in the track. If you tap the blue button, suddenly the drums disappear and there's no drums. If you tap the red button, all your kind of like melodies and piano leads and synth leads, they all disappear. So if you tap the blue and the red button and you unhighlight them, but you leave the vocal button lit up, it will play the vocals as an a cappella on their own. So what you can actually do is you can isolate the vocals from one track, and then you can make the vocals stand out on another track as an a cappella, and you can do like a live mashup essentially. Now the only issue with this is when you are like making a cappellas from some of the tracks you've loaded up, depending on the tracks and depending on the decks and the software, they don't always perfectly read the vocal. So sometimes you'll isolate a vocal and it'll still pick up like a little bit of background noise, but sometimes you can isolate like a really good clean vocal, and again, you can just literally have so much fun like mashing up. So you could have like a tune coming in and everybody is going for it and everybody thinks they know it and they're absolutely going to go mental for it, and then all of a sudden a different vocal comes in over that beat, like a live mashup, and it honestly is just amazing. It's a really cool thing to do, and it's a really enjoyable sort of feature of the decks. It's definitely something that I think could work well. It is like, again, and do different stuff, or like vocals or like melodies, have a different stuff. And it's a really enjoyable feature. It was for me, having that feature was kind of what sold the controller to me. So like if I was playing on this thinking, right, if I like this I'm gonna buy it, then having that feature was kind of like that thing that would make me say, right, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna buy this. So you can buy this controller from anywhere between £1,500 to £2,000, which is it's a fair amount of money. But when you're considering what you're getting the 4 channels, you're getting all the effects, you get the artwork on the jog wheels, you get the ability to mash up the stems, there's the looping, there's a lot of stuff that is coming onto this controller, and for a little controller, it is absolutely fantastic. It's amazing. It's absolutely just, for me, it's just absolutely solid. It's just something for me that I absolutely just love, and I'm just so honoured that I was privileged enough to be able to have a go on one of these controllers, because controllers, you don't see them much in clubs. So if I hadn't have gone round to a friend's house, I probably, unless I'd ever decided to buy one myself, I would have probably never have even ever had a go on one of these, because like you say, you don't really see them in clubs. It's always like RXs or CDJs. It's always standalone stuff. Now, I am going to say just from my personal preference point of view, I do prefer standalone equipment. And the reason why I prefer standalone is because they are standalone, and you're not relying on a computer. And you can sort of, in a way, like with an RX, like if you're going and visiting a family member, you can just take the RX and a USB stick, and you're not really worrying about having to, like, because for me, I don't have a laptop, so it's taking a computer, and when you sit on a big computer, it's just a lot more harder to move everything about, whereas with the standalone, it's very more easier to take your music and your decks sort of like on the go kind of thing. And it just kind of feels a little bit more like decks. I mean, when there was, back in the day with vinyl, there wasn't, you didn't look at a screen as such. And I know there's a screen like on the RXs and the CDJs, but it just kind of feels like you're away from your computer and you are stood over at a pair of decks. And, although, I can very much say this without sounding big-headed, I don't need screens to be able to beat match. But when there is a big screen in front of you, just because of the way things work and the way your eyes work, you can't help but look at the screen. It's like, no matter what you do, you just cannot help but look at the screen. It's like, because it's there, and it's like, if you're not looking at it, it's like the brightness is in the corner of your eye, which is attracting you to make you want to look at the screen. And it's just like a really, not a good thing, in that sense, that, you can't get away from having to look at it, when really you don't want to look at it, if that makes sense. And that is kind of like the annoyingness of it, that you have to, you're kind of forced to look at this screen. And that is what's always kind of put me off about controllers. However, if I was ever to get a laptop, and it's not that I don't like controllers, and it's not that I wouldn't ever have one. I just feel, for me, like, with not having a laptop at the moment, it's a bit of a pointless exercise, because where I'm sat in this current room, I've got like a big long white desk, like with vinyl shelves in them, where the decks stand on top. Now, if I put the controller there, if I, say, got one of these controllers, it would be like completely not even facing the screen, and then you'd have to like keep turning around, and you'd have to keep looking at the screen, and it would be like really annoying, because the screen wouldn't be right in front of you. Whereas standalone, on the RXs, you've got it all on the screen in front of you. And then, like I say, you're not relying on the computer. You're not relying on, even though you can connect computers to them, you're not relying on them. You've just got your USB stick, and the screen will read whatever the USB stick is obviously playing, and then you can just leave the computer and do whatever you need to do on the decks. But going back to the Flx10, it is still an absolutely amazing controller. If you do like your controllers, you're looking for that initial upgrade, and you have got about $2,000 to spend, then go ahead, by all means, and buy this, because it is a absolutely amazing controller. It's worth the money, although you might think, oh, nearly $2,000, it's a big chunk, but it's worth the money. So go out there, buy it. Big shout out to Adam for allowing me to come over to his house and have a little bit of a play around on this controller, and it was much appreciated. I got the chance to play on this, and I can't wait to go and play on it again. I actually want to go and play on it now. That's how excited I am, because it was just amazing, and it just felt so nice to mix on, and yeah. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, share.